Here we go again. Last month when I did this blouse, I was asked by a subscriber to make the trousers on the cover. So here we go. It's a lovely pair of trousers and it says it's in a polyester with side pockets, but it's not side pockets, it's just fake side pockets, so that's better, one less thing, isn't it? But the back pockets, I don't know how to do it. I've never done them, but let's try. I love the mustard color they chose for this, but because I have some denim left from last year, I made a pair of shorts. I'll leave you the link down in the, not in the comments, in the description box, as always. And I think I'm going to use it because that way I don't waste fabric and I don't have to go and buy some more. So that's always good. We're saving here. The trousers have a fly, so I have my zip ready, and one thing I love is the two buttons it has. And I remember I have two from my mom's, from one of my mom's skirts from when I was little, so that's good. We're recycling as well, or repurposing. Always take into account to have a look at the measurements, the table of measurements, and to measure yourself before cutting anything. And one thing I noticed of this pattern magazine, Patrones, is that the sizes are a little bit small, in my opinion, because according to this, I'm a size 40, which is a UK, is it a 12 or a 10? A 12. And of course, come to the instructions to see what pattern we are using, which is this one on the B side. And one good thing is that they tell you how many pieces you need. So it says 5 pieces and then a few extra ones you don't need the pattern for, because it's the pockets and it's just some rectangles of material. And be careful because the whole pattern doesn't fit in the sheet. So you'll need it to trace it twice, like in 2 pieces. So it happened to me with this dress that I didn't trace the second part. So when it says, for example, 3 and 3A, just be careful, because I wasn't careful. And it can happen that instead of trousers, you get a culotte. Doesn't really matter, does it? So once the buttons are cut, I'm going with the fabric. It says here I need 2 meters of material, 2 or 5 to be precise. And I think it's so much, but it depends on the size because of the shape of the trousers. Maybe you want to put them all together at the same level, and you can't because of these curves the trousers do. So just be careful with that when you go to get some fabric, and you can measure it sort of with a pair of trousers of your own and try to put it side by side and see how much the space they take. And maybe you can know more or less if your fabric is going to be 140 meters, maybe you need so much, or if it's going to be 150, you have enough with 1.20 meters. You'll see, you have to figure it out little by little. As always, pattern magazines always tell you to, well, of course, step by step, you do this pocket and you press the seam and you do another thing and you press the seam. I want to do it a bit of, I want to do a bit of batch sewing, so I can sew a few things and then come and press a few seams or iron something. So I'm going to do the pocket first because it's quite easy. It's just a fake pocket, fake side pocket. So I'm going to sew that, so then I can open the seam and press it as well, so I can top stitch it. And then I can do the interfacing for the back pocket as well. It's all a bit of a mixture of stuff, but I think it's the best, for me, it's the best way to do it. And now I have to do this front stitch all along the leg. So I just press it. It doesn't say to do that, but I think it's a good idea. So it's quite flat and I can maneuver properly. And I'm going to sew it not with the normal stitch I always use, the one that is centered on your machine, but with the one that is a bit sideways, so I can take as less fabric as possible. And after pressing seams and interfacing the waistband as well, now the fun starts with the back pockets. I've never made anything like them, so I'm a bit nervous, and the instructions as always are a bit confusing because they're really short. So I've been looking around and they're not as difficult as they look. You just have to mark this little rectangle, and after interfacing it on the wrong side, of course, we are going to place another piece of fabric right sides together and sew this rectangle, cut it open, getting right into the corners, and put it in right size in, so I can then top stitch it all the way around. Now that you've seen it, it's not as difficult, but at first, and following the instructions, it's just overwhelming. And then I'm going to sew the back of the pocket, the inside, with another rectangle of material, so that's it. Another zip with the fly, which is, I think it's more overwhelming than what it is if you follow the steps. You have to sew the zip on one side in a piece of material, in a loose piece of material or fabric, and then sew it to each side of the trousers and top stitch it, and then with the zip open do the same on the other side, so it's not as bad. So many steps, and after all of this is done, I can sew the trousers together by the side seams and first the back seam and the little bit of front under the fly we have left, so the fronts and backs are together, and then I can sew them right sides together by the side seams and the inner seam from crotch to ankle and crotch to other ankle in case we twist it. To make the waistband, I just sew the pieces on the side seams and then sew them together, leaving one side open, which is the one I'm going to sew to the trousers, right sides together as well. And once this was done, I just folded it in place, making sure the previous seam was hidden inside. And one little tip to open your buttonholes is to place some pins on the side so your seam ripper doesn't get through it. And after all of this, let's try it on. So this is the final result. I quite like it. They are really high, but they are comfortable. The back pockets are just for the sake of having them, because I don't think there's any use for that, only to put €1 maybe. And then the only thing I didn't manage to do is the second buttonhole. I think it's to make sure that the fly remains closed so it doesn't open or anything like that, but I just put the button there and I didn't do it. I think it's okay, and I quite like these seams. I think they are really nice, and even though it's a pair of jeans, it looks nice because it's not a thick fabric, so it's okay. And the hem, I did it quite wide, following the aesthetics of the wide leg, so I think it looks nice. I'm quite comfortable with them, I really like them. So let me know down in the comments what you thought if you're going to attempt something like this. It's a long project, just have in mind that you'll be sewing like for 2 or 3 days. But it's not difficult, it's just a matter of following steps and looking for information when you can't really get your head around the instructions, not introduction, instructions. And don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of content. I really appreciate it, it helps the channel a lot, and that way you don't miss anything because I upload twice a week. And I leave you here a link to all the Patrones patterns I've sewn, dresses and blouses, even one in which I combined 2 of them. And I'll see you around next week. Bye!